First off, Kelsi, thank you for taking time out of your dark day to come and sit and visit.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people know your name. They know you by the beautiful long black ponytail underneath the helmet. The native and pride of Slovak, Arkansas. Is that
Slovak.
Slovak.
Yeah.
I should have known that. Slovak, Arkansas, just outside Stuttgart, Arkansas. What was life growing up? Because I heard it was a bit of farm life growing up.
Yeah, farm life. My grandpa had cows growing up, and my dad was a bull rider. He rode bulls, and my brother also rode bulls. And Dad got us into rodeoing when we were young, and we did that every weekend. And my dad farms, so we had a lot of acres to run wild on. And I'd get on my pony and take off every day and go see Grandma and eat snacks and swim. And yeah, it was awesome. We had four-wheelers and just room to roam.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful, kind of idealistic Southern upbringing. And you did inherit that love of horses from your family. But it was those family trips as a kid here to Oaklawn Park that kind of introduced you to the speedier version of thoroughbreds. Tell us about that.
Yes, I came as a kid. My grandmother, was it my grandmother? My aunt had a box here always growing up, and my grandpa, he loved to come bet the horses, and he'd bring me and buy me a ticket and let me think I was winning some money. And I did that a little bit, and then when I actually got in high school, I started coming over and got more involved then. But the trips as a kid were fun, different.
So let's fast forward a little bit. You eventually became to work on the backside. Tell me about your long affiliation with trainer Al Cates and the role that he has played in your career thus far.
Oh, wow. I can't credit Al enough. He's been so great to me always. I guess, it would have been maybe 2013 that I started working for Al, 2012 or 13. I know my baby, Lacey, she's 9 now, and she was in a car seat when I started working for Al. I carried her in the tack room, so I don't even really remember how exactly we got in contact with each other. He was needing an exercise rider, and somebody mentioned him to me, and we got in contact with one another, and the rest is history. He's been the best boss I could have ever ran across. We have birthday parties in the tack room, and my kid's there raising heck all the time, and he just goes with the flow. Al's been great to me. He helped me actually when I first started wanting to ride races. He got me in touch with Don Symington and got my first saddle from him and my first set of irons and pants and boots, and he hooked me up with all my gear, or helped me get hooked up with it. And yeah, he's just great. I still work for him in the morning as exercise rider, and that way I get on a lot of horses and stay fit and don't have to go to the gym as much. He's been great.
So he's really seen you grow up as well as your daughter, and he gives a lot of credit to you as well for help at his barn, and really kind of more than a boss and trainer role, but kind of a mentor as well.
Yes, very much so. And I actually got my assistant trainer license before I went down the jockey road under him, and he's just been spectacular in teaching me a lot of things that I wouldn't have learned elsewhere.
So you mentioned that you did take out your assistant trainer's license. Did you saddle in the paddock?
I did. I saddled my first winter here for him, for Al. I think Santana rode it. But yeah, I did the whole assistant trainer role for a while, and it was fun.
So on the backside, it definitely is a sun up to sundown type of work style. You are engaged to a trainer, Robert Klein. Tell us how you two met.
We met in the barn, actually, on the backside. When I was grooming for Tim Martin. I just kind of come home from college and ended up working for Tim. He'd ran into me at the farm and offered me a job, and I was grooming horses for him. And his dad, Leon, was still alive then, and he had horses in the same barn with Tim. Robert was working for Larry Jones, and when he would get done galloping in the morning, he'd come help his dad get finished, and we kind of ran into each other there in the barn. And I think we both knew it when we seen each other the first time. We were interested in one another. That went on for a little while, and next thing I know, I was packing up my stuff and headed to the other side of the country, to the East Coast. I went to Delaware with him and worked for Michael Matz out there at Fairhill, Maryland that summer, and we've been rolling ever since.
So you eventually became a jockey. How long after galloping horses and breezing horses did you decide, you know what, I want to be out there in the afternoons doing this as a living? Did you ever have that aspiration as a little girl, going from rodeo like your dad and your brother? Did you say, you know what, those trips to those trips to Oaklawn as a kid, I like what those guys are doing, I think I want to do that?
I did eventually. At the beginning, when I first started coming to the track, I just wanted to ride in the morning, just to ride. I was walking hots and grooming, and I'd always grown up riding horses, and I'd see these guys riding, and I wanted to, and finally did. And I've probably galloped for, like I said, I left in 2011 and went and worked for Michael up there, and I've been galloping full time ever since then. I'd say, I don't know, at least by the third, fourth year into galloping, I was wanting to think about riding races, but I knew I wasn't ready at that point in time. I had a lot to learn and still learning, but yeah, Robert, he still tells me now, aren't you glad I didn't let you ride when you thought you were ready? Because we look back on it now and I'm like, oh, definitely. But yeah, no, I knew I wanted to ride. I just knew I wanted to make sure the time was right. I didn't want to do it before I was ready. My biggest fear was always doing something wrong and hurting somebody else, one of the veteran riders, or something bad happening, and that being my claim to fame was, oh, look, what's she doing out here, you know? So I wanted to make sure I was comfortable in all aspects of the racetrack before I ever thought about riding a race in the afternoon.
That's very profound that you had that sense of self, because there are those people out there that's what they want to do, and they'll do it no matter what, and no matter the timeline.
Yeah.
So that's very profound that,
I did
that
not
you
want to
had
rush
that
it.
wherewithal to do that.
I think it happens a lot. I think a lot of people, like you say, they're so ready to ride and they want to ride, and they get on a couple horses and work some horses in the morning, and people tell them they look good on a horse. The next thing you know, they're wanting to ride races in the afternoon. They're not ready yet, and then they get in a situation that they've never been in before and don't know what to do, and it can get very dangerous. And like I said, that was always my biggest fear. I wanted to make sure I myself was confident 100% before I ever got out there. So I'm glad I waited, and like I said, I'm still learning. There comes a point in time when you have to just do it too. You can't wait forever. You know, you gotta jump out there and go sometime. But definitely glad I put it off as long as I did, and it just so worked out. You know, the Robert's barn come a long way in those couple years too. He didn't have this quality of stock that he does now, anyways, and he said, you know, you'd have been riding such and such, and this horse and that horse, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'd rather ride these that we have now for sure. So.
Well, even the big riders learn something every day.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So I totally give you credit for doing that, but it did pay out that you waited as long as you did, because you broke your maiden in a very big way, your very first mount, and not a lot of riders can say that they did that. Very first horse ever, and I love the fact that it was for Robert back in June of 2018 at Canterbury Park up in Minnesota. And it's on one of your favorite horses still to this day, Bandit's Point. And it really was full circle because it was Father's Day. And your dad drove all the way from Arkansas to watch you ride.
Oh, it could make me cry. He did. Dad's always tried to be there for everything. In school, he was working full time and raising 2 kids, and he missed a lot of I cheered in high school, and he'd come watch Tyler play football, but he wasn't big into the cheerleading deal, and he wanted to come watch me play basketball. I played basketball a lot, and he hated coming and sitting in that hot gym. He didn't want to be in that gym, so he missed a lot of that stuff in high school growing up, but he doesn't hardly miss the horse races. He tries to be here as much as he can, and I had no clue he was going to be there that day.
Really?
I had no clue at all. He didn't tell me. Actually, he called me the morning of, I was like getting ready to go to the jocks room, and I was in a nervous wreck, and I kept busy that morning in the barn, tried to just keep my mind off everything, and go about it like a normal day, and he called and he asked me what I was doing. I told him I was working and getting ready to go. And he said, well, I'm sitting here at the finish line at Canterbury Park. And I said, do what? And he said, yeah. He'd slept in his truck. He got there, drove all night, and got there early that morning. And
That's not a down the road trip
no,
either.
not at all. And so he slept in his truck and called me, and I went and got him and showed him to the barn, got him settled down with Robert, and went on up. And yeah, it was an amazing day. He was trying to hold back tears in the winner's circle.
I know he was so proud of you, going from running barrels as a little girl to crossing the finish line first as a professional jockey.
Oh, yeah.
And your whole family was there. Lacey in the winner's circle.
She was crying. She was a mess too. Yeah, it was a great day. Dad, he always wanted me to ride too. You know, once I started galloping, and he'd come watch me gallop in the mornings and come visit and stuff. And he was like, when are you going to start riding races? When are you going to start riding races? And my grandpa too, he passed away, but he was the same way. Every time I go visit him, he's, when are you going to start riding them races? I want to watch you ride races. So. And he actually did. He got to see me ride before he passed, so it was great. They're all big support system. Robert makes fun of them, and he said, we turned your family into horse fanatics, horse racing fanatics. He said, they used to didn't be so crazy about the races. Now they're all into it big time.
Well, it does seem like every race day you have a major fan club cheering for you. As soon as you leave the jocks room, down those steps, go to the saddling stall, right outside is your cheering section. From the second you set foot in that paddock to the second you get off your horse and go back to the jocks room. To have that type of support has to be so heartwarming, and just knowing that regardless of where your horse finishes, your number one team, it's team Kelsi.
Yeah.
Every single race.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite part about it, because without them, the game takes a toll on you. You don't do good, you know, you get beat on a favorite, something doesn't go right, the trainer's upset with you. It's hard to keep your head picked up. And when you do get to go back through the tunnel and the little girl's there, she doesn't care if I win or lose, you know, she loves me just the same. And the rest of the family, like I said, they're great. They all try to come. I got cousins and nieces and nephews, and anybody that can come and be here, they're here. I have to keep them quiet sometimes. They try to get loud around the paddock. I'm like, hey, shh, don't be so loud.
So you obviously don't have the daily life of a typical jockey. Yes, you do breeze horses for the trainers that you will ride for, but I do say that because you do play a major role in the barn with Robert. You gallop horses, breeze horses as well for him. And a lot of people do work side by side with their significant others, but you two are literally side by side on the track in the mornings. I was out watching training one morning, and you two were on workers right next to each other, and you went by them right at the wire. And sometimes that's a different type of work setting for a couple. But when I see you two, especially in the paddock, you truly do enjoy each other's company.
Yes, ma'am.
You're always smiling. When you walk into the paddock, you always give each other a kiss. What does that work? How is it to work with each other? I mean, because you truly do look like you're in love.
Yeah,
I mean, and I know, okay, you're engaged, yes, but, you know, sometimes it's not always, you know, rainbows and ponies in this work setting. There's a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
You're very correct on that, and it's hard. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I would absolutely love to work with him and for him, and when we win together, it's the highest of all highs. I love to win for anyone, but for the home team and for us, and I see how hard he works every day. I watch him get up and leave, and I see when he comes home, and he is the hardest working person that I know in my life. So he puts in a lot of hours and takes care of a lot of horses and does a lot of things that even your typical trainer doesn't end up having to do because they have help maybe or whatever it may be, but he does everything from mares and babies to the building fence and stretching wire to, I mean, there's, you name it, he does it. And it's great. It's great to work for him and to ride horses for him, and it's the dream come true. It's also very hard, and it can take its toll because he's my biggest fan and my biggest critic, and he'll tell me that. And it's great. He's great to watch replays with, and he helps me, I think, tremendously more than anything, is to be able to watch replays and get that feedback from him on what he thinks I could have done differently, or when I should have moved, or what I could have done. And he's definitely in my head on every race, even if I'm not riding his horse, the things that he's told me. And he's very smart, very horseman, very very knowledgeable about everything. And at the same, when I do mess up though, it's you're in for it, and you don't get to get away from it. You don't just get off your horse and your trainer chew your butt, and then you walk back to the jock's room and go on. I go home with him, and so it can be an all-night deal. I get home and he's still mad, and he's on my butt about what I did wrong, and I'm telling him I did this right, and he's saying, no, you didn't. And
is it hard to ever turn off that switch for either of you?
It is. We have to just say that's enough. We're not going to talk about it for the rest of the night because we'll be mad. We actually had that happen here a couple weeks ago. I rode a race that he didn't like the way I rode the race. The one good thing about him is that he, most of the time I'm going to get the mount back for him, and that's great to know that I don't have that pressure when I go home. It's not, oh, I've screwed up and that's the last mount I'll ever get in that barn. It's what can we do different? What can we do to change it, make it better next time when I ride this same horse that now I know better? But I put on a bad ride, a ride that he wasn't proud of, and we weren't seeing eye to eye on what he thought I had done wrong, and we carried it home with us, and we were arguing still when it was bedtime, and he was telling me something about, do you think Bob Baffert and Victor Espinoza, if he would have said that to him? And I said, well, I can tell you one thing, Bob Baffert didn't have him to sleep next to him either. So it can get, yeah, you definitely have to turn the switch off sometimes and just say, we're not going to talk about horse racing anymore. But it always comes back around, and he's very, very supportive of me. He's always, when I'm down on myself, he tries to pick me up, and he definitely is there to tell me when I do something wrong and help me change it. So it's great. It's the dream come true, man. I would love to be a jockey no matter what, but I feel like it's just a different deal when I'm riding for him. It's the horses that we've broke and we've raised and we're there with every day, in and out, and I'm picking their feet and I'm rubbing their legs, and it's just when we can make it happen with our team, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, you kind of have the advantage where some jocks don't. You really do have a 10 times more special relationship with the horses in Robert's barn, because you have that hands-on relationship, and it shows.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always said, even when I first started riding, I didn't care about riding everything and anything. I wanted to ride the horses that I galloped in the morning, that I liked, that were the ones I picked out, that I got along with and was comfortable on. And now that I've progressed, and I like to get on even the ones I've never seen before, it doesn't bother me. That's fine. I like riding them just the same, but it's just a plus. It's an advantage when you know the horse from the ground up. You know all their little quirks and everything about them, and there's nothing hidden there that you have to worry about, and it's good.
Well, obviously your job as a jockey is an important one, but yet your most important role is mom to Lacey Jo. Beautiful little girl who appears to love horses just as much as her mom. Tell me about your role as a mom and how you incorporate it into your life as a jockey.
Oh, I don't know if I'm doing any of that right. We're trying. I drag her up very early in the morning. Sometimes she'll be a bear every now and then. She'll say, why can't I just sleep in like a normal kid? I said, we got horses, baby. You're not a normal kid. We got to go. So she's been up.
You do have horses at your house, at the farm.
Yes.
How many horses are at the house?
Right, it changes all the time. Right now, let's see, we've got 5 babies, a stud, and one brood mare there right now. 2 brood mares are in town, about to foal any day. Lacey's been staying at the farm with her grandma, trying to deliver the next one that comes because she wants to be there.
So it's a working operation.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Robert's mom is a big help, and she's the one that helps with all the mares, and so her and Lacey are doing night watch right now.
So there's never a dull moment,
No.
and on a farm like there's always something to be done.
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, Robert, he's always busy. He's always trying to get me to build fence, and I'm trying to wash the dishes and do the laundry and keep up with the kid. I ain't got time to do the fence too. He's like, come on. So yeah, there's always a board down or something that needs fixing, or a horse that's cut and needs doctoring, something going on all the time. Yeah.
So getting Lacey up in the mornings, school, and last year and now with the pandemic, also not easy. That comes with its hiccups as well.
Yeah, last year when school went to virtual, that was a big chore because I'm technology dumb. I'm not very good at any of that stuff anymore. I left the computers back in college. So I had to try to drag her along and find some Wi-Fi and get her on school and make sure she was getting that done. So this year she's back in real school, so that helps a lot. And I have a village that helps me get everything done. So my sister-in-law actually picks my daughter up and drives her to the school bus for me in the morning. And she gets on the bus, that way I can make it here to be on time for work. And I pick her up in the afternoon on dark days at the farm, and we do farm chores and then head home. And on race days, the mother-in-law's picking them up, and it takes a village to get it all done. But
She's an extremely outgoing little girl.
very much.
What would happen if she said, Mommy, I want to be just like you and be a jockey?
She said she wants to be a jockey. She's going to be very tall like her dad. You never know. Kids change their mind every day, but she right now in her order, she wants to be a pony girl, a jockey, or a trainer. So
it's gonna.
She's
run in the
definitely
family.
in the racehorse business right now. That's where she's going. But she's also interested in the Army. She likes the Army. I don't know that
Interesting.
you never know what show. She's only about to be 9. We can wait on thinking about all that for a little while.
So it's not a secret that horse racing is a male-dominated sport. Some circuits that have jocks rooms full of female riders. Oaklawn, just for some reason, is not one of those circuits. Why do you think that is, Kelsi?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Oaklawn, it seems to be a very cliquey place. I guess because a lot of the same people have came here for so long, and they know who they kind of want to ride already before they come here. For a new person to come here and try to break in, even as a male rider, it's tough to get your foot in the door and meet the right trainers and let them to even see that you have the potential to ride good. You know, if you don't get on the right horse and you look bad, and they don't want to see you ride again. And I don't know really why the female. It's just so tough here, I guess. It's tough for anybody. Or like you said, they can go somewhere else where they like females and tend to ride them more and do better and get more mounts. I wish there was more females that came here and were able to do good.
Yeah.
It's the best place, I think, in the world to be racing at. It is tough.
Well, with that being said, you hit $1 million in earnings last year. Mama's bringing home the bacon.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, girl. You are at this meet currently in the money, 28%. Horses are really running for you.
We're doing good. We're doing okay. We only got 1 win so far, but like you said,
But yeah,
we're hitting the board.
You're in the exotics and really hanging. There's a lot of big name riders that have come back and some new big name riders, and you're hanging in there. And you know, I mentioned you have picked up really riding some proper names of Larry Jones, and this year and last year, Duane Lucas.
Yes,
high profile owners as well, not only last year, but also since losing the bug. That can be a big transition for a rider. I love the post. I love your Facebook because you are always so positive, so inspirational. And the day that you got to put on the Calumet Farm silks.
Oh yeah, big day. That was awesome. Stuff like that's surreal to me because I just remember when I first started riding, and like I said, I didn't ever dream I'd be where I'm at right now even, and I hope that we just keep going, and I'm always surprising myself, but yeah, to get to ride for Larry and Burton Jones last year, won a couple races for them. I mean, when you put those silks on, you better take a picture. You don't ever know when the last time you might get to put them on is. So,
Right.
It's just, I'm proud of myself. Don't want to get stagnant. Want to keep going forward.
Remember one day you were coming back from a race, and Duane Lucas and his wife Laurie had gone down to the paddock to talk to you, and it seems like you've developed a pretty good relationship with them as well.
Yeah, they're awesome people, man. They've tried to help me and tried to give me nice horses to ride, and they're just, Wayne, he's just great to be around. He's always got a good story, something good to say, something you want to remember, you want to go home and write down. And Miss Laurie, she's just sweet as ever. She's been so nice, and to get the opportunity to ride for caliber of barn like they have is just, it's awesome to me. I don't ever want that to, what's the word? I don't ever want to not appreciate that,
Yeah.
the little things, you know?
Where does that positivity and that motivation come from? Because you always have that contagious smile and that positivity. Where does that come from?
I don't know.
What motivates you?
Just all this, getting to wake up and honestly live a dream. I can't be too down in the dumps about it, you know. I have my days, I have my bad days where I want to go home, be alone, and shut the door and cry and scream in a pillow. I have those days too, and like I said, days where I think I'm completely screwing up at being a mom, and you know, I think we all have our bad days, but just the fact that we serve a great God that wakes me up in the morning and gives me a gorgeous day to go ride horses and do what I love, and yeah, how can you be grumpy?
Well, I tell you what, Kelsi, to go, like I mentioned, from, I think I read somewhere, the Little Britches Rodeo
Yeah.
circuit,
That used to be my nickname. They called me Little Britches back in the day.
to go from Little Britches Rodeo to now riding for Larry Jones and Wayne Lucas, what you have accomplished in such a short amount of time, it really is remarkable. And to be riding at Oaklawn, I mean, that's a massive accomplishment. And to have the family support that you do, it's beautiful. It
is.
really, truly is.
I'm blessed to be able to ride here too. Like I said, I never knew that I was going to be able to get the mounts that I'm able to get. And when I look at the overnight and I've got 4 mounts on the card, I'm thrilled with that, because like you said, there's great riders here, Hall of Fame, great high big name men riders that I'll ask them and they got one, or they don't even ride that day, and I'm like, man, you know, I better just be lucky that I've got what I've got and happy for it. And this is my home state. There's a lot of people that come to the races here that I do know, or I went to school with, or have acquaintances with, and a lot of people are always messaging me wanting to know what I ride that day and wanting to show up on the days that I do ride. And so it's fun, and I go out on post parade and everybody's hollering, and I get to see some old familiar faces. And
We should mention Big Steve, your
Steve.
agent.
Yes, he's
This meet.
doing a great job.
Very well known
Yes.
in racing circles, and that was a big
Yes.
deal when he said, "Kelsi,
Yes.
let's."
Huge deal.
Take Oaklawn.
I was so thrilled to get the phone call from him, find out that he wanted to be my agent again, because like you said, you lose the bug, you never know. And yeah, when he said he wanted to take my book again, I was like, heck yeah, let's do it again. Hopefully we can get to winning some more races and have as good of a meet as we did last year and make us some money and keep rolling on.
So what's the plan after Oaklawn is done? Where's the Klein barn go? Where does Kelsi
suppose-
Harr take her tack?
Yeah, probably back to Canterbury.
Okay.
I haven't heard any different right now. It's so nice up there. People are so accommodating.
It looks like a really fun
It
meet.
is. It's a fun place. It's fun for Lacey, especially when the COVID didn't stop everything. They have a lot of extras that go on and pony rides and different stuff.
They still have the race where they run the turf and the dirt and they run.
do, same time.
That is one of the craziest races.
It is. I didn't get to ride in it, but I would love to. I don't think they had it last year, but they did the year before. And yeah, no, it's great up there. A lot of people stay in their campers or on the backside, and so everybody gets together and
It's a fun
cooks
atmosphere to do
and
stuff
hangs
like that.
out, and it's just, yeah, Lacey loves it. She's got her friends and her bicycle, and she runs the backside up there. She runs around all morning. It's just really laid back. The weather's great. The horses like it there. It's hard not to want to go back. It's a long way. It's a long drive. I help ship the horses, so I dread the drive every year. Like, oh, here we go. Let me hook onto this trailer.
Well, we know that your dad does not mind the drive.
No.
He's done it straight through.
He did. He's old highway cowboy.
I love it. Well, we wish you much success.
Thank you.
Jockey, daughter, fiance, mom, and an inspiration
Oh, thank
to
you.
everyone, including young girls and women of all ages. Kelsi Harr, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.